guys, it's your Algebra 1 tutor here. Today we're doing lesson 2.1, practice properties of real numbers and add real numbers. So here's that term we learned last week. One of the terms we learned last week, real numbers. Let me refresh your memory on real numbers. What are real numbers? So real numbers are numbers such as fractions, rational numbers, 2/3, whole numbers, positive whole numbers such as 3, or we have negative whole numbers like -1, and then neither negative nor positive, which is 0. So we have a whole variety of real numbers. So since we have a clear explanation of what real numbers are now, and I even show you guys like the examples, let's go ahead and jump into the last week's U-Try problem. So for all those new here, the textbook that we use for the series of Algebra 1 is the textbook Algebra 1 McDougall-Little Michigan Edition textbook. You can get any state edition textbook, but I'm using the Michigan Edition one, and as the last week's video, I'm going to link the online textbook version in the description as well. So, let's jump into the last week's U-Try problem. While I'm erasing these real numbers examples, if you haven't already looked at the question for the last week's U-Try problem or answered it, go ahead and pause the video and read out the question and answer the question below. Okay, now that I finished erasing this, I hope that you guys had some time to look through this problem if you haven't already and solved it. So now let's go ahead and go through it together. I'm going to go ahead and read out the question here for you guys. A star's color index, so a star's color index is a measure of the temperature of the star. The greater the color index, the cooler the star. So the question here says, order the stars in the table from hottest to coldest. So the key hint here says, the greater the color index, the cooler the star. So before we start, let's go ahead and circle the numbers here for the color index. So first we have star A, which is 0.09. Then we have star B, which is 0.21. Here we have star C, which is -0.28. And the last number color index we have is -0.03. So now that we've circled in the numbers, let's go ahead and try to solve this problem. So again, the key hint says, the greater the color index, the cooler the star. So in the last week's video, I talked about how numbers are greater than another number. such as negative integers are always gonna be less than positive integers. So here we have two negative integers and two positive integers. So negative 0.03 is closest to 0, so it's going to be greater than negative 0.28. And here we have positive integers, 0.09 and 0.21. 0.09 in positive integers is closer to 0 than 0.21 is, but 0.21 is farthest from 0, so in positive integers, so it's going to be greater than 0.09. So, as you can tell in this number order, we know that negative 0.28 is the least number from all these numbers here, and we know we can indicate this as a star that's hottest. So let's go ahead and put this in the beginning of the color order. So negative 0.28, comma, and then we have another negative number, which is negative 0.03. So let me go ahead and write that below as well. And then we have these two positive integers, and we know that 0.21 is greater, so 0.09 is less than, so we will put that after negative 0.03, so 0.09, comma, and then in the end, which is the coolest star of all of them, is 0.21. Since we don't know the numbers and it tells us to order the stars, let's go ahead and just write the letters of the star. So C is, sorry about that, C is hottest, then we have D, then we have A, and finally we have B, which is the coolest star of all of them. So now that we have, let me go ahead and circle the answer here, green. So C first, D, A, and B. So A starts from B, so that's not it. B switched up A and D, so that's not it. C starts with a B, that's not right. And D is our answer because it has the right order that we solved. So D is the answer here. Now that we went through the last week's U-Try problem and you got the answer for it, let's go ahead and do the actual problems for the unit, for the lesson we're learning today, which is for adding real numbers. Let's start with the first question and read it below. So the first question states, use a number line to find the sum. So before we look at the numbers here, let me go ahead and just straight up draw a number line. Sorry about that. So here's a number line. Here's a number line. Ending points. And we know that we need to include 0 in here somewhere. And we can tell that the numbers we're using for this question is negative 11 and 3. So since we're dealing with a positive integer and a negative integer, we're going to put the 0 in the middle. There we go. And let's go ahead and write out the numbers here. And I'm just going to try to simplify this into just number line with just two numbers. So we have negative 11 here, and we have 3 here. So we know that on either side, negative 11 on the right side is negative 10, and then the left side of negative 11 is negative 12. So let's imagine these invisible between 0 and negative 11. We have the numbers here. So it says in this question here, I'm sorry, let me get rid of the 3 because we don't need the 3 here. It just asks us to add 3 to negative 11. So let me just go ahead and write out negative 11 and so on. Negative 11, negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, and so on. So now that we have a minimum of 5 numbers, let's go ahead and solve this problem. So this problem is pretty easy to solve. You can just look at me how I'm solving it. So it says add 3 to negative 11. You already know how to do that without a number line, and if you don't, stay tuned for the third problem. But since we know how to do that, we're using a number line to figure it out. So it says add 3. We're going to use the jumping method. So negative 11, 1, 2, 3. So negative 11 plus 3 is negative 8. And to figure out if that's right, let's just not use the number line, and negative 11 plus 3 is negative 8 because it's a negative, and then 11 minus 3 is 8, so negative 8. So we are correct. Let me just go ahead and write the answer for you guys in the box, little box here. So negative 8, there we go. As simple as that, negative 8. Now that we're done with the first problem, let's jump right into the second problem. Again, this question says use a number line to find the sum, and I'm going to go ahead and draw another number line here. Ending points. And here the number we're using is a negative integer again, negative 7. So let me go ahead and write down negative 7 and so forth. So let's put negative 7 here. This time, since we're subtracting, and how do we know we're subtracting here? Well, negative 3 plus, so, and there's brackets around negative 3, so plus minus is minus, so we know that we're subtracting 3. Let's put 7 on the right side, because we're subtracting. Negative 7. So here's negative 7. We have negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, and negative 11. So we kind of just made the same number line, but we're just trying to figure out what's subtracting we're subtracting 3 from negative 7. I'm sorry there. So this time we're going to jump on the left side. So negative 7's here. 1, 2, 3. So negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10. And if we don't use the number line, we know that's true because negative 7 minus 3 is 7 plus 3, which is 10. And both of the numbers are negative numbers, so we have negative 10. Let me go ahead and write that answer below. Negative 10. So there's the answer for the second problem. And now that we're almost there, we're almost to the end. We just have like 10% left. So 20% left. So let's do this problem now. Okay. Let me go ahead and read this question out. Find the sum. This question is just asking us to find the sum without using a number line. So if you want, you can use a number line. It's your choice. But since it's just asking us to find the sum, I'm going to show you how to do that. So So the numbers we're using here are negative 6 plus 10. So let me go ahead and write that out. Negative 6 plus 10. So here, this is pretty simple, but if you don't know how to do it, just watch me and learn. So here we have negative 6 plus 10. The number that's greater here is 10, which is positive, and the number that's less than is negative 6, which is a negative integer. So since there is a negative number in this problem involved, we're going to be subtracting. So 6 minus 10 equals So this problem will be written out as 10 minus 6. And why is the minus 6 not to the 10? Because we're not going to put a negative sign here, because the negative sign goes to the number that's less than the other number. So the answer to this question is negative 10 minus 6 is 4. So the answer here is negative 4. Yay, we got the answer. So negative 4 is the answer to the final problem for us today. Let me go ahead and write that in the box down below. Negative 4. Now that we're done with all these practice problems, for this week, I'm not going to be giving you guys new try problems since we went through a lot today. I just need you guys to keep all of this we went through in mind, and I'll just be giving you guys a you try problem next week, so stay tuned for that. And again, I'll be linking the online textbook in the description, and until next time, see you guys then. We're going to be doing lesson 2.3. And today we did lesson 2.2, practice properties of real numbers and add real numbers. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share. And if you have any questions, please don't forget to type the question down below in the comment section, and I will reply as soon as possible. Thank you. This is your Algebra 1 tutor signing off.